you
let me
know.
let me ask you a question. Just talking about that particular, you brought up politics and a little bit about the 50s and 60s. There's individuals out there that make the argument that the worst thing to happen to black folks since slavery was during the 60s when
Yeah,
when they were bamboozled through the civil rights movement to join hands with the Democratic Party. And they said, and they make the argument that that was the worst thing to happen to black folks since slavery. Would you agree or disagree with that statement, and give us a little bit about that? But hey, let's get nephew in here real quick on that.
Can I ask who's at fault at that?
Say what?
Who is at fault with that?
What do you mean?
Like who led our people to join hands with the Democrat Party?
Oh, hey, good question. Uh, you can see we know the main culprits that till this day still get talked about when we talk about, like, of course, the main one we always know about is Martin Luther King. Um,
Yeah, I'm glad you
Bayard
brought him up too because I got something to say about that.
Bayard, I always mess this dude's name up. Bayard Rustin or whatever his name was. There's quite a few of them. We can go down the list, and actually, I've done ran across a couple like documentary things that were put together by people and stuff that could actually walk us through it one day, or whatever, and we can parlay on that part about, taking on just about what happened during the civil rights movement. Um, but I mean, off the top of my head, like I said, those would be the ones. I mean, we know that, like, for example, we know that the NAACP was meeting with the Democratic Party and stuff during that time, and making deals and stuff. I mean, we have meetings beforehand of Martin Luther King meeting with individuals, and it's like, yeah, we'll bring black folks to y'all. I mean, that's cool, but we have to be the leaders. We'll do it, but we have to be the leaders. And then we have to look at, see, here's the dangerous thing, man. And some people point this out too. You know, during that time, we had a lot of individuals who were joining with American Negroes trying to fight for American Negro rights that wasn't even American Negroes, and majority of the loudest ones wasn't even they acting like they were living it, and they wasn't even from here. Like people like Bayard Rustin and uh there's other ones. What's the other main one that the one that went down to Mississippi and basically, yeah, hold on. You know what? I'm about to get some names for y'all. But won't you go ahead and answer that first question for me while I go ahead and do some things?
Um,
Well, let nephew finish answering
no,
if you
go
haven't.
ahead, nephew.
Because I have heard something about Martin Luther King that now this is alleged because it haven't been proven, but that Dr. Martin Luther King this whole time he was marching and trying to get blacks and whites to be on the same page and everything too. While we all know Malcolm X is on a total different page than he was. I read something that he uh married Coretta Scott King for the image of it, but he was really in love with a white woman. And this whole time it wasn't until they attempted assassinating him where he realized that he was actually on the wrong side and he realized that he was marching his people to a hellhole, basically. And then when he came to that realization and he was going to make a difference and actually get on the same side as Malcolm X, they put a pillow over him and killed him in the hospital. Because I think we can all say that he didn't die from that shot. He died in the hospital.
That was the story that was given a little later on. Matter of fact, kind of recent, a few years back that broke. Um, I mean, and it's not even necessarily that he got on that he came to Malcolm X's side. You know what I'm saying? But he one that poor people's march that had a lot to do with him. That had a lot to do with it. Okay, with the timing of why he had to go. All right, because if he was gonna pull that one off, that one was focused not just on the American Negro. That one was bringing the American Negro and poor white folk together on on many issues that was going on in this country. So that was one. You know what I'm saying? Like they they could not let that march happen. Um, it's yeah, several reasons they couldn't let that march happen. All right. Now he started realizing. Now, like I said, I don't know. It's like what Pops was talking about earlier with Kanye and stuff like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? These individuals, they go and they make these deals, they go and live this life, they get the fame, they get the you know what I'm saying? Because yes, he runs under the same category. You know what I'm saying? Politicians, I mean, I'm sorry. This thing that happens is not just something that's happening. Celebrities are not just actors and singers. All right. But anyway, his deals was made. He got what he wanted. It wasn't until the end that he started, like you said, he started realizing how bad it was that he was getting, and he tried to start bucking back. Like, hey, you know, I really am bringing y'all into a burning house. I mean, shit, this Democratic Party's not really for us. You know what I mean? But it's kind of too late by then. The damage was done. You know what I'm saying? The damage was done. And of
Well,
course, after killing him, Negroes reacted emotionally, and of course, so a lot of stuff happened around the country on that regards. But afterwards, there was more of a focus on his previous message than ever was put out about what he tried to tell people afterwards. If people really listen to Martin Luther King afterwards, and definitely if they listen to Malcolm X from the beginning, we would not be giving our dedication or block votes to the Democratic Party. We wouldn't be doing it. We act like politics don't matter, but they do. And they know it matters. That's why they attack us every time it's time to vote. They come heavy for us. Bounce your booty to the polls.
well, you might already know how I feel about this. I just want to say to those out there that yes, that was a pivotal moment. Up until then, yes, we was taking some beatings, but we was making some strides. But we was more. I've always been more of a separate but equal. Um, at the time that the country was trying to live as such, I feel like them was some of the times that was better after Reconstruction, and what it did for us was it allowed us to build our own communities, which is what we do not have through integration. Okay. We had in some of our bigger cities, we had all black hospitals, banks, companies. Yes, I know about Tulsa, the 8 communities that's been flooded out. And yes, you know,
Over
first thing,
120.
okay, over 120. And the first thing people say is, well, you know, we was doing this until, you know what I'm saying, they was doing this to us. I said, so what? We gave up? Because that's all integration is giving up. If we continued on in the same efforts we put in with the same culture of change that has happened over the last 50, 60 years, we would be a lot better off politically, financially, physically, mentally, all of that. And you would have seen that the white and the black communities in America would have really bonded together, which is probably what the elites couldn't have, because you can't have both sides that are proud of who they are now getting along with each other. And that would have happened. Because see, what integration did was, one, it took all the cream of the crop out the community and put them over there with the white folks. Okay. First thing, you know, we look at what their communities are, and we gravitate towards them for our safety from ourselves, which, you know, like they say, yeah, you might be right, but who gonna be the first one to jump off the porch and go live in the hood? None of us. You know, that's just the way it is now. So now that we're at this point where we're at, we can't go backwards. So we got to figure out what to do from here on out.
I wanna I
And
wanna I wanna ask you something based off what you said, man. 'Cause I just wanna, I just wanna. It almost depends on what narrative you wanna really believe in and stuff. Because here's the thing that I believe I'll stick there. I'll use the word believe here right now. But I believe that we were taught the wrong narrative in life, in history. Okay. And with that said, if we start breaking down different things on timelines that we're now able to see and be like, hey, this happened, this happened. Hey, you know about this lake, you know what town was there before this lake was here and before that lake was here, you know, and these were black towns and blah blah blah. And then you go into an even deeper history of it and you start talking about who these black towns were and how look, I think we was fed a false narrative. All right. So that whole we was brought over here, we was brought over here, we were slaves, and they taught us everything we know. They taught us how to farm over here and everything, and they taught us everything about this land so we can build this great country for them. And then they released us due to a civil war, and it was a fight, and we got released. And we were so ignorant and walking around, didn't even know how to. We were bumping our heads, not knowing, looking for our families, not having nowhere to go. That most of us returned to plantations and this and that. And then simultaneously, uh, right before the 1900s hit and into the 1900s, all these black towns just sprouted up all over the country, and they were just so thriving and this and that so great that they just had to start being burnt down and drowned out and everything else that they started doing to them and destroyed them all. But black folks showed that they can be. They did all that within the time span of being released from slavery till about when it started happening in the early 1900s. So look, in 50, 60 years, black folks showed how strong they can be, but then the white folks came and destroyed it all and put lakes over it and everything else. And then we didn't make another move until the civil rights movement and we started getting freedom from the government and here we are. That shit don't make no sense. All right.
Nope.
Look, those towns and everything that was destroyed, yes, they were black towns. They didn't just sprout up in 50, 60 years. That's the shit that was here. All the sharecropping and everything that was going on, all these, even the slavery and stuff that was going on. We, 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 according to the narrative we're given, you know, we were brought over here by some evil white folks, and then and they were just enslaving us, and this, and that. And a lot of it don't even make sense when you really start looking at it. But whatever. What happened to the people that were here? If that's the case, you're telling me all this was happening, and what happened to the people who was here during that time? Hell, during up until about what 1830s, majority of the southeast of or this side of the Mississippi, the southeast was still Indian territory. So how was all this shit happening?
Well, let me ask you this: you have to give it to whoever. I mean, I don't know whoever the organization or the people that put all this together, because they have managed. Think about it. They have managed to erase all this history from everybody's memory, white and black.
That ain't hard to do. We know exactly what they're doing, how they did it. We know exactly how it's done. We still do it till this day. We still practice the same thing till this day. The same thing. Listen, I'll take it back to when it first started happening to us. It first started happening to us when they developed the so-called what they call Indian schools. Y'all might remember that. All right. But when they started that and they started, remember, they gave those Indians a choice. Go to Take your ass to the other side of Mississippi where we got reservations that you will be able to live peaceful lives and rebuild and everything and blah blah blah. All the lies that get told. But or stay here and completely assimilate into our culture. Remember, they're the ones that set up in Philadelphia. Yeah, yeah, Philadelphia. They're the ones that set up this new government. All right. But it came from the model that they got from the Confederate Indians, I forget how to pronounce their name, the Iquis, whatever, yeah, Iouis, Ouis, Iqua, Iqua. But anyway, they got it from the Confederacy that was already in place here. The whole model, even the boy Adams, in his biography, he talks about how he spent time with them and how he developed the plan that he brought to their Congress. That's why they had so many Indian representatives there in the picture. But when we look at the pictures, we just see Negroes.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But that's why they're there, because that's who helped them form this government, showed them how to run it, how to do it, and gave them the shit to do it. Like here. And then these motherfuckers turned around and took everything. We called the Louisiana Purchase, called it, how'd they get to Ohio? How'd they get to Ohio? Okay. Anyway,
Can I ask you a question real
I
quick?
can get so far off track just dealing with this, so I'm trying to narrow it back down.
Can I ask
Go
you a
ahead.
question real
Go
quick?
ahead. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right now, with everything that we're saying, right, is terrible, right? But are we hating because we didn't do it?
No, what I'm saying is that with the right narrative and the right information, maybe we can start backtracking our way up out of this shit instead of keep falling deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into it. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? And to go back to my original point is that with the Indian schools and stuff like that, remember, if you stay here, you have to fully assimilate. And then they started the Indian schools, and it was mandatory that they had to start sending their kids to school. If they didn't, they sent the military to the houses to round up the kids and take them to these schools. Okay. Then they started going to the reservations and actually taking kids from there as well. And reservations had to fight had to fight to get the government to stop coming in and taking the kids. Okay, but they kept taking the kids. Now, let's jump back to this side of Mississippi. The point is that you can stay, but you have to fully assimilate, and your kids must be educated by us. Period.